Game of Thrones is dead. Or is it? Because apparently the one who knows nothing is about to come back. Yep, we mean it. Not too long before the House of the Dragon prequel series is set to debut on HBO, things are getting even more curious with the announcement of a Jon Snow sequel series, one that will indeed feature the return of Kit Harington as the child who, well, he did things, that's for sure. Fans are very confused by this, and for good reason, not the least of which is the question of what exactly will the show be about. Well, we can possibly suss out some things in theory, so bear with us, as this is going to get interesting. Number 6, Jon Snow A Recap, Part 1. To truly understand the show that might be coming, we need to talk at length about the man of whom it will star and feature. Jon Snow is a fan-favorite character and has been since Season 1 of Game of Thrones. Not the least of which is because of Kit Harington's very somber, in a good way, portrayal of him, and the fact that he was pretty much the only good man, outside of a small sect of others like Ned Stark, in all of Westeros. The problem from him was that, at the start at least, he was the illegitimate son of Ned Stark, the Lord of Winterfell. Thus, his station was precarious at best, as shown by the not-so-loving attention he got from Ned's wife. Still, he was beloved by the Stark family, save Catelyn, and he knew that if he wanted to truly prove himself, he would need to go and join the Night Watch, where rank meant nothing, or so he was told, and then he would be able to show his worth. Except that the Night Watch wasn't what was promised in various ways. This wasn't the noble watchers on the wall that the legends had promised. Instead, it was a collection of thieves, killers, betrayers, deserters, and illegitimate children like himself. But like Jon Snow was known to do, he overcame and started to learn that the world was much bigger and scarier than he realized. Number 5, Jon Snow A Recap, Part 2. As he grew alongside his brothers in the Night Watch, he started to earn a reputation in both good and bad ways, mainly because he was much better than most of them in terms of combat because of his training with the Starks. But he also had a good streak that led to him getting blasted by some of the ones in charge. With the exception of Lord Mormont, who chose Snow as his successor when the time came, even giving him a sword that would save many lives later on. Because as he would find out, there was more to fear outside the wall than just the wildlings. There was also the White Walkers, which were the ancient enemy of man, who were destined to break through the wall. Jon would face off against them in the frozen north, and even defend the wall against the wildlings, after mating with one of them, that is. Such a player. To this, he eventually became the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, and after fully grasping the threat of the White Walkers, he opened the gates and let the wildlings through, so that their forces would be enough to fight the threat off. Now, it was a very logical thing to do, and it got him killed by his own men who think that he went too far. The joke was on them, though, as he came back thanks to the Red Woman, and after killing those who betrayed him, he left, for his watch had ended. Number 4, Jon Snow A Recap, Part 3. So, where do you go from being dead and Lord Commander? Simple. You reunite with your stepsister in Sansa Stark and join with her to try and retake the North. Yeah, the Starks lost the North, it's a long story. Which is exactly what he did. It wasn't easy, and he almost got all of them killed. Remember, he knows nothing. But eventually, he was able to fight off the Boltons and the really evil Ramsay and retake the North. And to his surprise, he was rewarded for this by being given the title of the King of the North. Something that an illegitimate son shouldn't have gotten, and yet his deeds proved his worth. But those deeds were put to the test when he needed to get more for the invasion of the White Walkers, and thus he went to someone he didn't expect to meet when his journey began, Daenerys Targaryen. The Dragon Queen had just made landfall when he arrived and asked for her help, which she was willing to give, if he bent the knee, which he wouldn't do because he knew there were bigger problems than her ego. Not that this didn't stop them from getting to know each other better. Number 3, Jon Snow A Recap, Part 4. Eventually, Jon would earn favor with Daenerys after he advised her on how to recover from a loss, and then when she too realized the threat of the White Walkers, after seeing them for herself and losing one of her dragons to save Jon and the others, they became allied for the noble cause of saving all life. And they did. At the Battle of Winterfell, they were able to fend off the Night King's armies and last long enough for Arya Stark to kill the king himself. But the fight was not over. They had to take out Cersei Lannister, and this is where things really went off the rails. Because after the loss of a friend and yet another dragon, Daenerys went nuclear and burned the town of King's Landing to the ground in order to reclaim it as hers and her family's, completing the cycle of violence that was foretold long ago. So much for breaking the wheel, huh? Oh, and Jon and Daenerys, not only were they a couple by this point, but Jon found out that Daenerys was his aunt. Oops. And when his aunt said that she wanted his help in bringing the rest of the kingdoms to heel,
be with me. Build the new world with me. This is our reason.
he said no and killed her. Fans were not happy about that at all, nor were they the content about his punishment, in which he was banished to the wall. Even though there was no wall really, nor any Night's Watch, and at the end of the series showed Jon Snow leading the wildlings back to the frozen north and the gates closing behind them, signaling an end to his story. Or at least that's what was meant to happen. Number 2, the sequel series plot. So given everything that Jon Snow went through and the fact that his loop was tied, if you will, the question then becomes, what in the world will this series be about? We honestly don't know, and no indications have been given as of yet, likely due to how early in the works this show is. The early thoughts are that this is going to be about Jon healing from everything that happened in the series finale, killing his aunt, lover, and being banished, and trying to adjust to his new role of leading the wildlings. But while that might be good for a single season, that's not justification for it to happen at all. Not to mention, without the White Walkers out there, the only real threat to deal with is, well, the other wildlings, and that'll get old really quick. Some think that Jon will be called back into service and thus start a quest for redemption, but that would very much undermine what came before, and we don't need that. But either way you look at it, this is complicated and not in a good way. Number 1, do we really need this? Well, that is the question, isn't it? Many aren't happy about this for the simple reason that this appears to be an attempt by HBO to win back the fans, even though they lost them pretty well and thoroughly after that series finale, and to some, the whole 8th season. Not to mention, we don't even know how good or bad the House of the Dragon prequel series is going to be. So to already commit to this sequel series before the prequel has even come out to be judged is very presumptuous. Could it be good in the right hands? Of course, but that doesn't mean that it'll happen. And if there are going to be more GOT spin-offs, maybe make them about characters who honestly have more stories to tell without forcing the issue. So what do you think? What do you think of this look and breakdown of what might happen with the Jon Snow series? Do you think that this might just be something worth watching? Or do you think that this is a very serious attempt at a cash grab by using one of the characters that they feel might bring back the fans? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time on the channel.